Bros, welcome to a kitchen. Today we're finally putting our journey of scrambled eggs to rest. This video is the third of a three-part series where we stepped through the ranks of scrambled eggs. Level 1 was a simple cheesy scramble with some humble tomato and onion. Level 2 complicated things a bit by adding potato, onion, and chorizo to our cast iron skillet to make a frittata. Now for level 3, we're going to make the fanciest kinds of scrambled eggs I can possibly think of, quiche.
Fresh, it feels like I'm just, wow, this is made by elves.
This recipe takes several hours before it's ready to eat, and we're making it for our distinguished taste tester, Little Coconut, because she deserves every minute of labor I put into this decadent, smooth, complex dish with a crust so beautiful and flaky, it'd stand you up on several dates and you'd still continue trying to ask it out. Dang, that's a flaky crust. But I want to know something from you guys first. What do you want to see Coconut eat next? Before we get to the cooking, go down to the comment section and let me know what things you want to appear on Coconut's menu. Go ahead, now's a great time. The first thing for Coconut's quiche is the crust. This is what makes or breaks a quiche, so let's start there.
That can make a huge difference. If you've got like a soggy, floppy crust, it's just like, okay, I'm just eating nasty.
To me, the flakier the better.
Like Frosted Flakes?
So the ingredients and method I picked are all about tender and flaky.
We're making big Frosted Flakes!
I start by working in some bacon grease and butter.
You said but.
Into my flour and salt mixture. The method is really important here. Instead of just mixing or using a food processor, I'm sliding the lumps between my hands in order to create thin flakes of butter coated in flour. These little flakes are what will turn into crispy air pockets in the oven when the butter melts away, fries the dough, and the moisture in the butter steams up to create air bubbles. Once the butter is pretty uniformly flaky, it's time to hydrate. But using water would allow the gluten in the flour to form. So to add moisture while adding minimum water, we're using straight vodka. The alcohol not only doesn't form gluten in the dough, which keeps our crumb nice and tender, the alcohol also boils at a lower temperature than water, evaporating out more quickly in the oven, eliminating the worry of sogginess. Once it barely comes together, I'm going to wrap it in plastic wrap and set it in the fridge to cool for about an hour. This time we'll finish hydrating anything that didn't get fully incorporated there, so don't worry about making sure it's all super well mixed here. Once it's chilled, it's time to make like an Autobot and roll out.
Can I help? Gotta do that.
Good job. Ooh.
Gotta hit it like this.
Yay!
Roll up and roll in, lifting and allowing it to fall into the dish. You can do this in a tart pan if you want to be able to release it later for a naked crust presentation, but I didn't. Another classic presentation is to fold the dough underneath itself on the edges to get a nice smooth rolled edge, but I didn't. Once it's molded and the edges are dressed how you like, I just went for a simple trim here. We've got to pre-bake it. So it goes on a sheet of foil weighted with rice, and this bad boy hits the oven's bottom rack at 375 for about 30 minutes. The raw egg mixture is not going to do our crust any favors when it comes to crispiness. Now it's time for our fillings. I start by rendering some pancetta down and adding shallots and mushrooms. At least I would add shallots if Coconut weren't eating this. You know, shallots are bad for doggies. But since this is level 3, we're going to use a gourmet mushroom blend. So fancy. That's going to need some arugula, thyme, and salt. The salt is especially important here since it will take the bitter edge out of the arugula as it wilts down. With that, it's finally time for the eggies. I'm mixing the eggs with cream and salt. Normally a quiche will get really well blended here, but that didn't feel like scrambled eggs to me, so I just kind of whisked it a bit. However you scramble it, we gotta pop in some goat cheese crumblies and our eggs are ready. To assemble, I first pour the filling mix into our crust, followed by the egg mixture, and baking at 325 until the eggs set. I covered the edges of the crust about halfway through so they wouldn't get too dark. While that's in the oven, make sure to get subscribed so you don't miss Coconut's next dish. Little buttons down there. Once the middle is jiggly and not runny, I remove from the oven, garnish with a little pancetta, goat cheese, and a sprig of basil. And that, my friends, is an excellent dish for your dog.
Well done, good girl.
I can tell that this is good.
I'm so excited to try this quiche.
Good.
Whoa, okay.
Wow, that's way better than any quiche I've ever had. Yeah.
She's liking even the vegetables, babe.
It definitely feels like a light meal. Like you'd want to eat this out on a little tea table underneath the pergola, you know?
Yeah.
This is the food that was served if it was served by a fairy.
So delicate.
Very, very fresh. It feels like I'm just, wow, this is made by elves.
I definitely want to be having tea time with it.
And I was in a tree house and it was all beautiful. You know, like eat leaves. I had like a bit of like nature leaf taste in it, but like the good part of it. But I could feel my muscles grow. And life was good.
I love that.
Every bite is a little different depending on if you get more leaves
When I was a kid, I would like eat leaves.
or more egg or more mushrooms. You can just have a lot of variety in every bite, which is really cool.
Mom, you're gonna want to try it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, thank
Flaky crust.
Oh, it's so good.
Crust is really good.
That's the best.
Oh, that
you've
crust
ever
is
made,
so
Ty.
good.
I'm so proud of you. But like,
Step aside,
you know,
Loretta Lynn.
And Crisco makes my country fried chicken this crispy. Can't beat that Crisco crunch. Hey, do you call that working hard?
I call this eating good.
Crisco do you proud every time.
This is what I want for like Mother's Day breakfast.
You can taste the love that Ty put into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had quiche before and I've never been a fan of quiche, but this is like really good. This is something I could chow down on for sure.
The first thing that hits you is the sharpness from the goat cheese.
Yep.
And then I'd say like maybe the flakiness from the pie crust. And you get hit with huge savory bombs from the mushrooms and all the cured pancetta.
Give me 5, good girl. Yeah. Mwah.
Good girl.
When I was a kid, I would like eat leaves. And life was good.
If only life were good.
That's so awesome. That's really good.